In this video, we're going to take a quick look at the new Notes features in the Notes system in BrokerBrain. As most of you know, the Notes system is a place where you can add notes, emails, attachments, any electronic documents that you want to store with your properties, and we've added some new features to make this portion of the system a little bit easier to use. First and foremost, I want to bring your attention to the fact that you can now edit notes. So if you've entered a note into the system and you need to change the text within that note, you have the ability to edit and make modifications to notes, and the system will automatically increment and store your revisions for those notes. The edit note feature is a power user granted privilege, so if you don't see the edit note button on an individual note, it is because you don't have the power user access to make note edits, so you can ask your administrator to give you that group privilege to gain that capability. If you do have the edit note capability, once you've made an edit to a note, you'll see that there will be a new view option for each note that will show you the history of the note and the edits that have taken place on it. The original note in this case was done on November 30th at 5:06 in the evening, and if I click on that, it'll show me the text that was entered with the original note, and then I can step through the various revisions on this note coming up to the current revision that we're at right now. And the header for the note now shows who added the note and then when the last update was done for this particular note. So that's a new feature. We've also changed the interface look for the notes a little bit. The attachments are wrapped in a box down at the bottom a little bit nicer, and we've added this menu bar across the top of the notes section that gives us a single place for all the actions that you can take place on a note. And to make a note edit, you literally just click the edit note. It will load the edit note window with the current information for this note, and we can type in some text here, last note edit, submit, and when we come back, you will be presented with the most current revision, and then the previous version was saved as well. So that's a new component, and then probably more importantly and of more interest to you is the ability to email notes. And we've implemented this in two different ways. The first way is the ability to take an existing note and send the contents of the note, the text, and the attachments as an email outside of the system. So if I were to click the email note, you will see that we have a dialog that pops up that gives us the ability to send this note to someone outside of your office and use the email capabilities to do that. BrokerBrain automatically aggregates all of the contacts that you've entered for this property and presents them in a recipients box at the top, and allows you to go through and check which recipients you would like to be your two contacts, your CC and your BCC, and you can just select on each one of those how you'd like them to be included in this email. You have the ability to set the from, and any additional emails can be entered in the additional to additional CC and additional BCC section. And you'll notice that down below we have a to CC and BCC that automatically populates based on our selections from above. These sections are read-only, you can't edit them, but it gives you a visual indication of who the recipients for this email are going to be. Down below you have the subject of the email, which is automatically set to the property address, and then a place for you to type in an additional message. Now when you're emailing notes, you have the ability to include the text from any of the revisions that have been entered for this given note, and the system will automatically select whichever revision you are currently viewing back in the note itself. And because you can see down here to the left we're viewing the current revision, that is the check mark that's selected here, is include text from current revision, but you can select any of the revision history that you'd like to from here. And then it automatically selects any attachments that you've added to the note as attachments for the email. And then finally you have the ability to add additional attachments from your hard drive that aren't already in BrokerBrain to include as additional attachments to the email. Now once this email has been sent, the system will automatically add a new note to the property reflecting the email that was sent. So if you added additional attachments or you typed in a message, so that you don't have to go copy and paste this back into BrokerBrain. Once you send an email via this note system, a new note is automatically generated for the property that reflects the email that was sent along with all the attachments. And it's important to know that this note is going to be filed in the same area as where the original note came from. In this case, we're looking at a property note. Therefore, any emails generated from this particular note would also be property notes. But if we were to click Search All Property Notes, and it brings up a list of other notes that have been added for this property, you'll see that we have a Forms note here. And if I were to add or send an email from this note, the email or the resulting note that was generated from this email would be related back to the form that the original note was associated with. So it helps keep the emails and the notes filed respective to the areas from which they were generated from. And then finally, you'll notice at the top of the Notes section, before you had a New Note button, you now have a New Note via email. And what this allows you to do is basically send an email, just a fresh email from any section within the system, within your properties. And once the email has been sent, a corresponding note along with the attachments from the email will automatically be generated for the property. So if you want to get instead of adding a note and then sending an email, you can just create a new note via email, fill out the information, add any additional attachments, and you can add as many attachments in these sections as you'd like, and then the email will go out, and the attachments and text that you entered for this particular email will be logged as a new note for your property.